welcome to my show. I'm the Empath, and this is my cat Gabe. He has decided he will be joining us for today's Bible Babble. So, yeah, without further snudgery and ado, because he's probably going to come over on my lap, so just ignore him, or don't. We left off Exodus chapter 24. The covenant is sealed. The Lord said to Moses, "Come up the mountain to me, you and Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of the leaders of Israel. And while you are still some distance away, bow down in worship. You alone and none of the others are to come near me." Yeah, hold on, I didn't read. Yeah. You alone and none of the others are to come near me. Okay, so just him. That's what. The people are not even to come up the mountain. Okay, only Moses. And they're just supposed to be there and bow and worship of him. So, alright. Moses went and told the people all the Lord's commands and all the ordinances, and all the people answered together, "We will do everything that the Lord has said." Okay, that's simple enough. Moses wrote down all the Lord's commands. Early the next morning he built an altar at the foot of the mountain and set up 12 stones, one for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. Then he sent young men, and they burned sacrifices to the Lord, and sacrificed some cattle as fellowship offerings. Moses took half of the blood of the animals and put it in bowls, and the other half he threw against the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant, in which the Lord's commands were written, and read it aloud to the people. They said, "We will obey the Lord and do everything that he has commanded." Simple. Then Moses took the blood in the bowls and threw it on the people. He said, "This is the blood that seals the covenant which the Lord made with you when he gave all these commands." Moses, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of the leaders of Israel went up the mountain, and they saw the God of Israel. Beneath his feet was what looked like a pavement of sapphire, as blue as the sky. God did not harm these leading men of Israel. They saw God, and they ate and drank together. So let's just get this straight. You got Moses, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu. So that's 4 guys. And 70 of the leaders of Israel. 74 guys. All got to go and chill and eat and drink with God. How amazing is that? Can you just imagine for a second that you hear a knock at the door, you open the door, and there's God. And he says, "Hey, welcome, wanna have dinner together?" That's like, I don't know if I'd even be able to say anything. Like, I would be there at the dinner table with him, just staring at him, like slack-jawed, be like, that's, that's, that's crazy. I did not quite get that the first time I read that. Anyway, Moses on Mount Sinai. The Lord said to Moses, "Come up the mountain to me, and while you are here I will give you two stone tablets, which contain all the laws that I have written for the instruction of the people." Moses and his helper Joshua got ready, and Moses began to go up the holy mountain. Moses said to the leaders, "Wait here in the camp for me until we come back. Aaron and Harare, Aaron and Harare here with you, and so whoever has a dispute to settle can go to them." Oh, Aaron and Hur are here with you. Okay, and so whoever has this dispute can go to them. Moses went up Mount Sinai, and a cloud covered it. The dazzling light of the Lord's presence came down on the mountain. To the Israelites, the light looked like a fire burning on the top of the mountain. The cloud covered the mountain for 6 days, and on the 7th day the Lord called to Moses from the cloud. Moses was chilling up there for 6 days before God finally spoke. That's maybe it's like Chick-fil-A, where God, like God didn't just create the universe in 6 days. God literally works every 6 days, and on the seventh day, He takes a break from all the work stuff He's doing, and then He just chills with us. That's that's actually a really cool thought. That'd be a fun thing if that was the thing. Uh, Moses went on up the mountain into the cloud. There he stayed for 40 days and nights. And my first thought to that was, what did he eat? And then I'm realizing that, God could either provide for him or make it so he wouldn't need to. So, chapter 25, Offerings for the Sanctuary. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites to make an offering to me. Receive whatever offerings any man wishes to give." Well, that's nice, you're to make an offering, but it's whatever you feel like offering. And that doesn't mean you can be stingy and be like, "I feel like offering this used napkin." Come on, something from the heart. If you watch Doctor Who, remember that episode where the currency was something of value to you, like a wedding ring would have value to you, or a photo album. So I imagine that's there's like a similar concept there, in a sense. In a sense. Receive what offerings any man wishes to give. These offerings are to be gold, silver, and bronze, fine linen, blue, purple, and red wool, cloth made of goat's hair, rams, skin dyed red, fine leather, acacia wood, oil for the lamps, spices for the anointing oil, and for the sweet-smelling incense, carnelians and other jewels to be set in the ephod of the high priest and in his breastpiece. People must make a sacred tent for me so that I may live among them. Make it and all its furnishing according to the plan that I will show you. Okay, so it was more of a possessions type give thing, but still, I kind of like the concept of, like the give what you feel sort of thing, kind of like, in churches when it's like, how much you feel you should, like, give to charity sort of thing. I don't know. That sort of thing just appeals to me, because then it's not like here's a set rate sort of thing. No, it's kind of like, I don't know. The thought entertains me. Continuing on, the covenant box. Make a box out of acacia wood, 45 inches long, 27 inches wide, and 27 inches high. Cover it. 27 inches would be okay. So yeah, it's not that big. It's kind of like a trunk. Cover it with pure gold inside and out, and put a gold border all around it. For those of you who've watched Indiana Jones, you've seen at least Hollywood's representation of it. Make 4 carrying rings of gold for it, and attach them to its 4 legs, with 2 rings on each side. Make carrying poles out of acacia wood, and cover them with gold, and put them through the rings on each side of the box. The poles are to be left in the rings and must not be taken out. Then put in the box the 2 stone tablets that I will give you, on which the commandments are written. Make a lid of pure gold, 45 inches long and 27 inches wide. Make 2 winged creatures of hammered gold, 1 for each end of the lid. Make them so that they form one piece with the lid. The winged creatures are to face each other across the lid, and their outspread wings are to cover it. Put the 2 stone tablets inside the box and put the lid on top of it. I will meet you there. And from above the lid, between the 2 winged creatures, I will give you and all my laws for the people of Israel. Of course, I was talking about Doctor Who, So one of the first thoughts that came to my mind was weeping angels, and they're facing each other so they can't move. Oh my lord. No, but basically, okay, so gave him the laws, wants him to keep the laws safe by putting them in this golden box, and also that shows their significance, and make it so he wanted them to design it in a way so that it would be portable. Like, that's why there's the rings and the poles and such. So also, because of all that, you could like parade it around, and yeah. The table for the bread offered to God. Make a table out of acacia wood, 36 inches long, 18 inches wide, and 27 inches high. Dog is staring at something. Sorry. Cover it with pure gold and put a gold border around it. Make a rim 3 inches wide around it and a gold border around the rim. Make 4 carrying rings of gold for it and put them at the 4 corners, where the legs are. The rings to hold the poles for carrying the table are to be placed near the rim. Make the poles of acacia wood and cover them with gold. Make plates, cups, jars, and bowls to be used for the wine offering. All of these are to be made of pure gold. The table is to be placed in front of the covenant box, and on top there is always to be this sacred bread offered to me. The lampstand. Make a lampstand of pure gold. Make its base and its shaft of hammered gold. Its decorative flowers, including buds and petals, are to form one piece with it. 6 branches shall extend from its sides, 3 from each side. Each of the 6 branches is to have 3 decorative flowers shaped like almond blossoms with buds and petals. The shaft of the lampstand is to have 4 decorative flowers shaped like almond blossoms with buds and petals. Okay, I was like, wait, did I just read the same thing? There's to be 1 bud below each of the 3 pairs of branches. The buds, the branches, and the lampstand are to be a single piece of pure hammered gold. Make 7 lamps for the lampstand and set them up so that they shine toward the front. Make its tongs and trays of pure gold. Use 75 pounds of pure gold to make the lampstand and all of this equipment. Take care to make them according to the plan that I showed you on the mountain. Okay, long story short, gold is a good thing for these things. Gold is pretty. It's godly. God, gold. I don't know. Definitely is making a statement here. Oh God, I love your fashion choice. It's so choice, God. It's just so choice. Anyway, chapter 26, the tent of the Lord's presence. I'm sorry if my voice is a little bit drony and a little bit not that entertaining. Um, Again, that's part of why, at least in the last video, I pointed out that I don't know, at some point, I think I pointed out in the vlog I did recently that people would probably they could just play games and listen to me talk, because I realized that I'm probably not that entertaining, at least on my own, in these videos. But yeah, if you can play. Sorry, I'm just plugging something in. If you can play a game and listen to it so that you can get it as at least background stuff, then you are getting some of the benefit. And then if you decide to go back and read it on your own, then you can think back to you'll remember subconsciously things that I've said, and you'll be like, oh hey, that makes sense now that I've read it for myself, or you'll get your own thoughts. And so yeah, I'm sorry that I don't have the most entertaining voice for this. If it was a story, I don't know, if it was a novel, then I'd probably have a better way to read it. But because this jumps from perspectives and who's talking about and talking to, it's a little bit more difficult for me, especially because it doesn't give the same sort of character descriptions, like their voice and such, like novels do. Like, how am I supposed to know what God would sound like? Do I do a big bass booming, a big bass booming thing, or do I, or is God gonna be funny? God's gonna talk like this because he's God and he can do what he wants. I don't know. I'm sorry if that offended any of you. But then again, if you're someone who easily gets offended by me, why are you watching my channel? Because you want to yell at me about how offensive I'm being to you when you're the one coming to watch my channel? If I do something that offends you, it doesn't mean it's your job to stop me from ever doing it. No. And it doesn't mean it's your job to call me out on it. If you want to, fine, that's your prerogative. If I think it's an issue, I'll fix it. If it's not, I won't. I'm starting to go on tangents, and I'm getting away from the focus, which is God and the Bible here. So, my dog's hungry for dinner. I'll finish this up and then feed her unless she continues barking. Then I'll re-record this. The tent of the Lord's presence. Make the interior of the sacred tent, the tent of my presence, out of 10 pieces of fine linen woven with blue, purple, and red wool. Embroider them with figures of winged creatures. Make each piece the same size, 14 yards long and 2 yards wide. 2 yards. That's pretty large. Well, because that's what the tent is made of. Okay. Sew 5 of them together in one set, and do the same with the other 5. Make loops of blue cloth on the edge of the outside piece in each set. Put 50 loops on the first piece of the first set and 50 loops matching them on the last piece of the second set. Make 50 gold hooks with which to join the 2 sets into one piece. Make a cover for the tent out of 11 pieces of cloth made of goat's hair. Make them all the same size, 15 yards long and 2 yards wide. Sew 5 of them together in one set, and the other 6 in another set. Fold the 6th piece double over the front of the tent. Put 50 loops on the edge of the last piece of one set, and 50 loops on the edge of the other set. Make 50 bronze hooks and put them on the loops to join the 2 sets so as to form one cover. Hang the extra half piece over the back of the tent. The extra half yard on each side of the length is to hang over the sides of the tent to cover it. Okay, I want to stop for a moment to say that this part might be something that you're just completely tuning out and you're only using me for background noise if you're even still watching this. But I want to say there are some parts of the Bibles, especially when, there are some parts of the Bible, especially in like Numbers, where the Bible kind of is going on a rant, going on a loop sort of thing, and it says a lot of the same thing over and over, and it gives a lot of information that really doesn't necessarily apply, especially since this is just God talking about how to make this tent, and so it's not the most applicable, at least as we would think. And I haven't heard many sermons that talk about these sorts of things, all the specifics about, how this is to be made or anything like that. So I understand if you tune me out during some of these. Just keep in mind that, it does get to, after it goes through some of this stuff, it does get to back to the story about people and the more applicable type stuff. Make 2 more coverings, one of ram skin dyed red and the other of fine leather, to serve as the outer cover. Make upright frames for each tent out of acacia wood. Each frame is to be 15 feet long and 27 inches wide, with 2 matching projections so that the frames can be joined together. All the frames are to have these projections. Make 20 frames for the south side and 40 silver bases to go under them, 2 bases under each frame to hold its 2 projections. Make 20 frames for the north side of the tent, and 40 silver bases, 2 under each frame. For the back of the tent on the west, make 6 frames, and 2 frames for the corners. These corner frames are to be joined at the bottom and connected all the way to the top. The 2 frames that form the 2 corners are to be made in this way. So there will be 8 frames with their 16 silver bases, 2 under each frame. Make 15 crossbars of acacia wood, 5 for the frames on one side of the tent, 5 for the frames on the other side, and 5 for the frames of the west end at the back. The middle crossbar, set halfway up the frames, is to extend from one end of the tent to the other. Cover the frames with gold and fit them with gold rings to hold the crossbars, which are also to be covered with gold. Set up the tent according to the plan that I showed you on the mountain. Make a curtain of fine linen woven with blue, purple, and red wool. Embroider it with figures of winged creatures. Hang it on 4 posts of acacia wood covered with gold fitted with hooks and set in 4 silver bases. Place the curtain under the row of books in the roof of the tent, and put the covenant box containing the 2 stone tablets behind the curtain. The curtain will separate the holy place from the most holy place. Put the lid on the covenant box. Outside the most holy place, put the table against the north side of the tent, and the lampstand against the south side. For the entrance of the tent, make a curtain of fine linen woven from blue, purple, and red wool, and decorated with embroidery. For this curtain, make 5 posts of acacia wood covered with gold and fitted with gold hooks. Make 5 bronze bases for these posts. That's me. 'I'll read this one more. 27. The altar. Make an altar out of acacia wood. It is to be square, 7.5 feet long and 7.5 feet wide, and it is to be 4.5 feet high. Make projections at the top of the 4 corners. They are to form one piece with the altar, and the whole is to be covered with bronze. Make plants for the greasy ashes, and make shovels, bowls, hooks, and fire plants. All this equipment is to be made of bronze. Make a bronze grating and put 4 bronze carrying rings on its corners. Put the grating under the rim of the altar, so that it reaches halfway up the altar. Make carrying poles of acacia wood, cover them with bronze, and put them in the rings on each side of the altar when it is carried. Make the altar out of boards and leave it hollow, according to the plan that I showed you on the mountain. Okay, so apparently, it's not just he's telling him how, he's shown him, basically, how they're to be put together and what the final product is. Moses got how it's made from God. That's kind of awesome. It's kind of awesome. The enclosure for the tent of the Lord's presence. For the tent of my presence, make an enclosure out of fine linen curtains. On the south side of the curtains are to be 50 yards. On the south side, the curtains are to be 50 yards long, supported by 20 bronze posts and 20 bronze bases, with hooks and rods made of silver. Do the same on the north side of the enclosure. On the west side, there are to be curtains 25 yards long, with 10 posts and 10 posts and 10 bases. On the east side, where the entrance is, the enclosure is also to be 25 yards wide. On each side of the entrance, there are to be 7.5 yards of curtains, with 3 posts and 3 bases. For the entrance itself, there is to be a curtain 10 yards long, made of fine linen woven with blue, purple, and red wool, and decorated with embroidery. It is to be supported by 4 posts and 4 bases. All the posts around the enclosure are to be connected with silver rods, and their hooks are to be made of silver, and their bases of bronze. The enclosure is to be 50 yards long, 25 yards wide, and 2.5 yards high. The curtains are to be made of fine linen, and the bases of bronze. All the equipment that is used in the tent, and all the pegs for the tent and for the enclosure are to be made of bronze. Taking care of the lamp. Command the people of Israel to bring you the best olive oil for the lamp, so that it can be lit each evening. Aaron and his sons are to set up the lamp in the tent of my presence outside the curtain which is in front of the covenant box. There in my presence it is to burn from evening until morning. This command is to be kept forever by the Israelites and their descendants. Okay. Basic summary of what we just read. Moses and a bunch of religious leaders, 74 people in total, sat down and ate and drank with God. Awesome. God gave a list of commandments and a list of, so basically, a list of rules, laws, blah, blah, blah. I feel bad about saying that. A list of rules and laws, and instructions for things to be made for the worship of Him. So, yeah. That's basically kind of all that we talked about and read about and such today. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Like and favorite if you enjoyed. Subscribe to become a VIP today. My nose is starting to run, which is affecting my ability to speak. And,